Yes. Yes. It's the Tim McKernan Show, Tim McKernan Podcast. Jackson Burkett, Tim McKernan with you. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TMASTL. My audio is up, so I'll turn that down because it sounds like this is some kind of ham and egg operation, and I don't know what would give that vibe off.
Seriously.
Thank you. Thank you for the delicious take. MD 2020 says, what a pleasant surprise. I had a call at 11 o'clock. I had a quick meeting on the Dotem. Then I had another call, and I said to Little Jackie Papers, do you like that nickname? No, I don't. Say no, I don't.
No, in fact, it's my name on PlayStation Network. So
did you create it after I started calling, or has Herb been calling it since 2017?
It was September, maybe August of 2017.
So you were not associated with this program outside of just being a listener, and you would text in as Harrison's brother Master?
No, I think I was Sassy Batman one time. I was an avid listener, and you'd always say Little Jackie Papers, and so I was like, oh, that'll be my PlayStation name. Yeah, still is to this day.
I said during commercial break during TMA, I said, hey, how about QFTA today? So there you go. Here we are. Last week, our Tim McKernan Show podcast, I try to do one a week minimum, was the interview with Justin Ray.
Yeah.
And hopefully that led to profit for those of you gambling on the Masties. I was in a weird spot in which if Justin Rose had won, I would have made a nice amount of money. Not a crazy amount of money. A nice amount of money. When I say that, what do you think I'm talking about? Because you have no idea. I'm just curious what you think when I say
a nice amount of money.
Nice amount of money, but not a crazy amount of money.
You want a dollar figure?
Yes, I do.
$500.
Okay. It's a little less than that, but you're in the realm.
Yeah.
But I'm standing there, and if I were on social media and not a gift depot,
right?
My wife happened to capture an image of me and my older son watching, for whatever reason, I don't know why, he was so emotionally invested in Rory McIlroy winning. Here, I'm going to show you this image.
Yeah.
It's right as he hits the... Look at the enthusiasm.
God, so fired up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
an
outstanding picture.
Yeah. But then, like somebody would post, nice fucking kid, or something like something along those lines. Like, I'll keep my children out of that. You can motherfuck me and I guess my wife, but I'm going to keep the kids out of it.
Sure.
Anyway, I don't know why he was so enthused about it, because he's never really been like a Rory guy.
I think it's tough if you were...
So you see, that's actually an image of me losing approximately $400.
Right.
I mean, it was a $10 bet.
Right.
But I was still happy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Something like that supersedes...
Yeah.
To a certain extent. I mean, there's obviously...
And the reason I lead with that, you're always welcome to send questions. I've got so many questions saved up that I'm like, all right, I'm strictly email, even though we are on YouTube, for QFTA, because we didn't do one last week. And I recall this one coming in on Monday, yeah. I can't wait to hear. I was almost going to bring this to TMA, but I thought, this will be a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah, on
for
Easter
QFTA
week.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Tim and Jackson. The 2025 Masters was incredible, historic, unforgettable, the kind of sporting event you never forget. But when I watched Rory slip on the green jacket, I felt something I didn't expect. Sadness. Not because of the result, but because I found myself thinking, how many more moments like this will I witness in my lifetime? Besides the United States winning a World Cup, which does not feel promising, what else is left? I've been lucky. I saw Jordan's era, Tiger's 2019 Masters comeback, Brady's dominance, LeBron breaking the scoring record. But those once-in-a-generation moments feel fewer and farther between now. Even if Scotty wins the Grand Slam, it might not land the same. And as much as I'd love it, a Missouri championship, as in Mizzou, doesn't carry the same global weight, just a strange mix of awe and melancholy. That's from The Hunchback of On Castle. Now, I realize that's a, as he said, rather melancholy email, but I do understand it because, as a listener of golf podcasts, that's kind of been a bit of the theme this week. People are still talking about this thing. You and I are recording this podcast on Thursday, April 17th, so the Masters is now 4 days removed, and people are still talking about it. But one of the topics is what could be next. If Jordan Spieth were to win the career Grand Slam at Quail Hollow next month, it's not going to carry the same wait. And I think one of the main reasons, and Mickelson, most people aren't expecting him to even compete in the U.S. Open, be competitive. So it won't carry the same weight, but I think that's because Rory has been this tortured soul. Mm-hmm. And I think that's relatable to people, and that he kept coming back for more. Because I think Rory is kind of this oddly polarizing thing for people, this oddly polarizing personality for people. But I felt like the vast majority of the sports world, not even golf world, was pulling for him to win the Masters.
Yeah, kind of tough not to, in a way, when you know all the history behind close calls and his whole career and the quick ascent, and then just kind of the stagnant last decade. I mean, he's had a lot of wins and a lot of success, but not so much major-wise. I think, to the melancholy-natured question, I feel like the great moments come from when you don't really expect it or when you can't forecast it, the things that kind of come out of nowhere. And there'll be athletes and teams that pop up and will capture the global attention, and the sports world will be, waiting with bated breath to see what they do next. These things just kind of come up. If you knew that they were coming, they wouldn't be special. Or if you could see it coming in the future or predict it. So, and to the U.S. World Cup, yeah, it might not be the case in 26. Maybe it is in 30 or 34. You don't know. So as much as I understand the question, and maybe even felt that a little bit maybe on Sunday, I think these things, they come and go.
My analogy, because I did experience this, not with the Rory thing, because the Rory thing wasn't something that I wasn't even, I had I don't know what the right term would be, an event, so I was watching it on my phone up until about the 72nd hole, actually. But I wasn't like, I've been wanting to see Rory. I wasn't all that invested in it, honestly. And that's coming from a golf fan perspective. But in 2006, when the Cardinals won the World Series, the Sunday night before going back to do the morning after, at the time, the morning grind, I was depressed, truly depressed, because but I don't know. We had two things. It was going to be the first. I think the next morning we were going to announce that Martin was not returning to the show until October of 2024.
Right.
And I knew, that would be, not well received. But he was done, and I think maybe that factors into it. It wasn't just isolated on, but I do think it's a weird thing that you experience this high, and in that case, the Cardinals won the World Series. That was all I had wanted to see in my life as a sports fan, because I kind of saw it in '82, but I really don't. I just turned 6. I barely remember it. That I wanted to experience that, and then it happened, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, what else is there?
Right.
Weirdly. Yeah. Now, since then, we experienced 2011. There were a number of great moments in Cardinal history after that. Take your pick of which ones would stand out since then. 2012, the comeback against the Nationals. 2013, Game 5, Wainwright complete game. 2014, Matt Adams home run off of Kershaw. 2015, they won 100 games. 2019, comeback to beat the Braves. 2019, the Blues.
22, Alberts.
2022. So these are things so they will pop up. But as far as like career benchmark box checking things, yeah, this is. I guess what I would say, golf specific, would be a Michael Block kind of person making a run and somehow winning. I mean, that's so unlikely. I think it's even more unlikely now, because I think the gap between the greats like the McIlroys, Schefflers, is more substantial now than ever before. And then on the other side of it, I would agree on the World Cup. Missouri certainly wouldn't carry anything national or global, but my enthusiasm for that's the ultimate for me. Is there something we're leaving out there? I don't know.
That would capture like the entire sports world.
Well, I mean, I guess there's that, and then there's also local.
Yeah,
I mean, as we're recording this, we're about to. The Blues are 2 nights away from opening up the Stanley Cup playoffs, and even though we got to experience it in 2019, and it is lessened, I will say that it doesn't have the same, like it'll be the first time. Still, my enthusiasm for it is a 10 out of 10.
Right. It might not ever reach the highs of certain moments in your sports viewing life, but a Blues run, a Cardinal run, if Mizzou is to make the CFP, if Mizzou makes a run in the tournament, any World Cup, whatever it might be, I still think you'd absolutely have so much excitement and enthusiasm for it. And when you're rooting for them and when it's happening, you wouldn't be thinking, well, it's not as quite as fun as 2019.
Right. I mean, the ultimate one for me was I wrote about at the start of the 2012 season when I used to write all the time on InsideSTL.com, now redirecting you to TMASTL.com. That I'm not as excited for the upcoming season because we've reached the ultimate, not just the Cardinals winning the World Series, but the way that it happened. It can't get better. Right. And then in 2012, in Game 5 against the Nationals, which I think in 75% or more baseball markets would be a night that is talked about 50 years from now, but around here, we're lucky enough that it's like, oh yeah, that happened.
Right, especially less than a year after what happened
with the same kind of thing, down to your last out, a huge comeback. Granted, it was an LDS, but still, that happened. I'm like, I wasn't like, not as good as the Freeze game. I mean, I'm fucking going nuts. I think my wife was out, and I was watching it at home by myself. It was a Friday night. And I was like texting with Mark Mulder and Matt Vasgersian, who were doing the MLB Network thing. Yeah. That wasn't that was not supposed to be.
No, I know, but it's like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, just because there was some strategy going on, and I love baseball strategy. I remember during the 19 series, I remember Brian Snitker did something weird. I caught it early. I thought I caught it early, but I was texting with Edmonds because I know even though he's like not as excited about it as I am. He sees it at a level that, and I'm like, yes, exactly. And I said, I don't know what he did. He fucked up and boxed himself in the Game 4 where Yachty like ran toward Acuna and threw the bat at him and did the the throat slash. Yeah. But Snitker kind of fucked that up early. Mm-hmm. Probably some things you see, lots of things you see when you're watching a basketball game that I don't see. I think I see with baseball. And I love that part of it, and I love the strategy of it. I don't really get into it as much in the regular season, but certainly the postseason. So anyway, those kinds of moments, they'll pop up. But as far as a global thing like this, I did not expect Rory McIlroy winning the career Grand Slam to still be getting talked about 4 days later, and it is. At the same time, I think the reason it's getting talked about is because of the way he won it. In other words, had he not hit the ball in the water on 13, had he not missed the putt on 18, had he just coasted to what looked like was going to be an easy win before he hit the ball on 13 and dodged the bullet with the ball going in the water on 11, I don't know how many people are even talking about it. The ratings, I don't think, would have been nearly as good. In other words, if the Cardinals just beat the Rangers in Game 6, even if Freeze's ball would have been a home run to win it, right. Yeah. Without the triple, without Hamilton's home run, without Berkman's hit, and then Freeze's home run, you need the roller coaster to get the reward. It's not fun while you're on the roller coaster, but fuck, Rory's reaction was a byproduct of the hell he had lived trying to get there, not just the previous 11 years, or if you want to take it back to 2011 when he blew it in the back nine and hole number 10 in particular. And I still don't know how the hell he was up by a house because I haven't been there. But in addition to it, how Rory had lived a living hell the previous 8 holes. You know, that's what added to it.
Right. I think even if Justin Rose on the playoff hole, the 73rd hole, like blows it into the pine straw and has to, lay up, and then like the fact that Justin Rose hit the shot he hit and Rory hit the shot, it's all encompassing. It all has to happen. Josh Hamilton has to hit the home run. Like all these things have to happen, like you said, with the roller coaster, and that's so organic. And while it's like you can never forecast something like that happening again, when it happens, you're so in the moment that you don't think about anything else but what you're watching. So to the person's question, I don't remember the name.
Oh, that was the Hunchback of Von Castle.
Hunchback of Von Castle. I totally get where you're coming from. I even empathize with what you're feeling.
I do. I get. I thought it was a good email. I wanted to make sure we let off
For sure. But I think these things just kind of happen naturally.
You can always email yours in, McKernan at InsideSTL.com. Anything and everything is welcome. Still a bounty out there on hate mail. By the way, just odd observation. And you were there with me when it was made. But I'm thinking there might be a different one. Executive producer of 101 ESPN, Mike Ryder. A delight. Is he a gem?
He really is.
He's right there with Lisa.
Yeah.
It's not like Ali Marmol or John Mazalek.
Yeah.
Loves the program. A delight. Mike Ryder's a gem. So he's kind of, as we've now been over at 101 for 6 months. And we were doing Balloon Party 3 years before that. He goes, I knew TMA had a big following. He goes, I'm over here doing my thing. So when you guys are on, I didn't know. So I'm kind of like learning about it. And he goes, I really like that Reddit page. He said it to me and Jackson. And Jackson goes, whoa. And I go, I've heard it's awful. I don't look at it, so I don't know. And he goes, no, I think it's really good. And I'm going, okay, is this
Maybe
the same one? I don't know.
I haven't been on the TMA. I mean, I still use Reddit often, but I don't.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, I do. It sucks. I do like when I hit the app because there's a lot of good stuff on Reddit, not the TMA STL section of that.
Well, maybe it's apparently.
Changed. I'm not going to go in and look, but I do use it. But I do get this like gut feeling of like, oof, like my stomach starts to turn, and then I have to go to where I want to go, and I don't look around Reddit because I might stumble upon. So I have to go where I'm going with there, and then get out quickly, which sucks. But that's. Yeah, I'm not going to be going in there and looking.
MD 2020 says, I can assure you it has not changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder where the hell Ryder is. Is there like a...
There was a second one, but it wasn't. It was before, I think, the original shitty one. I'm not going to go look and monitor and see.
I haven't anyway, but I was like, really? That's kind of refreshing,
Yeah,
I guess.
I
mean, it's not going to get me to...
No.
Go, but I'm just anyway. Point being, I know most of you who for whatever reason obsess over the program or whatever it is that is obsessed upon. I'm not sure. I'm still putting it out there. I'll move it up to $500 if it does it for you. The same amount of money. It was $400 when McElroy hit the putt that I didn't win. Now I'm transferring. So now I'm upside down $900. Swing. For your hate mail, but you got to use your real name, and I know that's why I haven't gotten any. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. You can send anything in, TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. You're welcome to email in anything. James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, online at carltoninsurance.net. My insurance agent, a sponsor of the podcast. Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies, online at evergreenstl.com. 314-889-0503. You talk to Mark Hanna, you feel better about your finances and your life. I don't know how he does it, but I recommend it. And then also Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling, online at designairservice.com. MD 2020 says, someone made a post complaining about another 101 show, and the first comment was, shut up, this is for TMA hate only.
That should be the banner of the...
all right, let's see what we got here. Ryan, do you pronounce it Weemoff?
Yeah, it looks like Weemoff.
Says, it looks like someone at the NHL offices finally realized they had to schedule playoff games. Yes, Ryan, it's like you're producing this podcast, which really isn't produced. It's just two guys sitting around bullshitting. But so I get off my call and I come in here and I think you said the schedule. I said, was the schedule. And you said, yes, Ryder just emailed me. And I said, I was on the phone. I didn't see it. This Blues Jets schedule is, I'm not angry. It's one of those things I can see this because it'll be like an easy thing to get likes that everybody will bitch about it. But I have to say, and I could be off and somebody will go, no, this series and this year, this happened. This is something else. So, here is the schedule. Blues and Jets opening up on this coming Saturday, April 19th. Puck drop 5 p.m. Glorious, from my standpoint, as somebody who is not up until midnight, even on the weekends, with two young children. Can't wait. Then Monday in Winnipeg, puck drop 6:30 p.m.
Love it.
I mean, how do you do?
Love that.
Then 2 days off. Now we're back in St. Louis. Now they start getting us, but they only get us once. Puck drop 8:30 p.m. Jackson, I'm going to set the over-under at 843.5.
I take the over.
You're going over?
Yeah, I think it's a 46er. That national anthem, sometimes they lean into it.
No, never mind. Mm-hmm. So that's Thursday in St. Louis. 2 days off, though, before that. Play Monday in Winnipeg, 2 days off, St. Louis. Another 2 days off. Sunday afternoon, high noon.
Love it.
The 27th, Blues and Jets. And then 2 days off. Back to Winnipeg they go, April 30th. That means you're talking about this thing starts on a Saturday, and the maximum number of games that can be played between April 19th and April 30th is 5. And I would tell you, there may be, in the last quarter century, an exception for some kind of outlandish situation, but this has to, at worst, tie a record for spread out first round series. I know they spread it out in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Part of that is they go back and forth with the NBA, and neither one wants to play on Friday nights.
Right.
So that's the reason why it gets more spread out. For example, when the Blues played Game 6 in St. Louis against the Bruins, it was a Sunday. They won the Cup on a Wednesday. But a first-round series to be this dragged out. Now, I had some people, and it's lovely that they wanted to do this, contact me yesterday who work at Enterprise Center saying, we have been told that the first-round games will either be the 23rd and 25th or the 24th and 26th. They're in negotiations with the concert on Friday night, Brooks and Dunn, and the concert on Saturday night, Cat Williams, to move to the 27th. And whichever one agrees, then that will determine the schedule. Well, looks like neither one agreed, and so you are going to have the Blues playing after 2 days off on Thursday night, 2 days off on Sunday afternoon, and then, operating on the premise that this gets to 5 games, 2 days off, and off to Manitoba they go. That is something else. I mean, I'm telling you, papers, you've got no games on following the Monday night game in Winnipeg. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday.
It's a lot of off days.
That's three games in there. That's 2 games in there. That's 2 games in there. That's Thursday and Saturday. And nothing Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday.
A lot of gaps, man.
So, it's quite a spot. I mean, what are you going to do? You book the building. Book the building. In Winnipeg, Randy Bachman, who, as Martin has told us when he interviewed him, he said, my name's actually Bachman, but it's Bachman Turner Overdrive. BTO is a Winnipeg-er, which is outstanding that is what it is, Winnipegger. And he was more than happy to accommodate for his Jets that they would play the game, or he would play his concert on Sunday and move his concert from Saturday. But Brooks and Dunn and Cat Williams had no interest in working with the Enterprise Center, and therefore, Thursday and Sunday it is. So while the days are not optimal with all the spreading out, the fact that of the 4 games, only one is one of those 8:45 puck drops, just choice.
Yeah, for us, especially. Yeah.
Just choice.
Yeah, it's great.
But God almighty, I have never seen a first-round series spread out this much.
You have to think it would benefit the Blues to a slight degree because of the injury situation.
Well, Robert Thomas didn't skate this morning. They say he's going to skate tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw Rutherford tweeting out what Monty was saying about him.
Yeah. I am of the opinion that Dylan Holloway is in play no matter how much they spread it out, but it's not like I know.
Sure. Seems to be the vibe.
So, did you notice this? You've only been on the show 5 years. I'm the only person on TMA in its history who will just go, I don't think the hometown team is going to win. And then as I was doing it, I'm like, I don't know, because I say what I think, and I don't think they're going to win. I also picked the Rangers to beat the Cardinals in the World Series. So it's not like I'm like going, yeah, look at my track record. I just tell you what I think. If I'm wrong, I'm fucking wrong, whatever. But at least it's not like tune in and they're just going to say the home team's going to win. Like, who wants that?
Right.
But whatever. I'm trying to think of, are there other people in the market? And I don't know, and I realize our industry is like shrunk, but who will kind of like go, yeah, I don't think the Cardinals or Blues or whomever. Shitting on Missouri or Illinois is different.
I was going to say, because Doug had trepidations about Missouri beating Drake.
I'm talking about a St. Louis. I'm talking about going back to the Rams, Cardinals, or Blues. And that's not done as a shot at Battlehawks or City, but it's just a different.
Right.
Well, it's just not. You're not reliant upon them for your interviews, show guests. I don't care. And if players didn't like it, they're more than welcome to attack me for it. I don't know what to tell you. I would take Winnipeg. Winnipeg's minus 180. This isn't a Tim thing. This is a Las Vegas thing. I will be cheering for the Blues. I'll be happy for everybody to come back and say, you picked the Jets. Look at you. Ha ha. Wonderful. I'll be like, this is great. I was wrong. Sweet. But that's what I think. And I'm just trying to think, in St. Louis, are there people who pick against the home team? And I'm not talking like as a habit, like that's their character. Like just this is what I think. Because I've been working with Doug since 2007. He's never picked the Cardinals and Blues and Rams were going to win every single game of significance.
I don't consume as much.
I know. I know it's not fair to ask you.
St. Louis sports media, but yeah, certainly on TMA. Doug, in the years I've been, Martin's only obviously been with us.
I feel like Martin would say what he.
Yeah.
And I mean, this isn't like this is a kind of a.
Yeah. Well, Doug's a primo optimist.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like when the Blues were, I don't even know what it was, like 8% to make the playoffs.
He was 98%.
Right. So, yes, he is. But people love that.
Sure.
My North Star is, this is what I think. I don't really care if you like it.
Right.
My job is to tell you what I think. Yeah. If you want me to tell you what I think you want to hear, I'll get into cable news. Mm-hmm. And I just am not going there right now.
Not yet.
I got to look at the hair transplants, I feel like. I don't think they would want this skull on Fox News.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I think sometimes people get confused of like, because someone picks a team to win, that doesn't mean they're going to be rooting for their pick to come true. It's just what they think in the moment.
Correct. Yeah. For example, I can recall a couple of buddies were giving me shit. I think it was Missouri beat Alabama and then they lost to Arkansas. You're probably the only person in the world who would remember the order of it.
That was a Wednesday game against Alabama.
So after, and I didn't like start the show on Thursday after they beat Alabama. That's great, but I think they're going to lose to Arkansas. I go, I just think they're probably going to lose to Arkansas on Saturday night. That wasn't about, I think this team sucks and this was a fluke. It was about, Saturday night, Arkansas has to win. Missouri will come down. I view it through the psychology of college players. That's my reasoning. And there were some buddies of mine who were like mad that I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. This is what I think. Right. I could be wrong. This is my reasoning. I don't know what to tell you. On the counter on the Blues-Jets thing, I would point out that even without Holloway, they were 1-1 with the Jets in the third period. They were 20 seconds away from beating Edmonton, albeit kind of a Edmonton AAA operation last Wednesday. And I don't know how to explain the Seattle thing. So it's not like they've been getting blown off the ice. It's just he got hurt in the second period against Pittsburgh. They had a bad third period against Pittsburgh. Is somebody yelling and fighting in the hallway? Is that going on?
There was a slight yelp. I heard a slight yelp.
I mean, for me to hear through my headphones and through the door.
Yeah, it would have to be pretty loud. It was a yelp. Okay. But I haven't heard a second one, so I think we're all good.
So anyway, hey, I got to tell you what I think.
Right.
I'm sure I picked the Phillies against the Cardinals in 2011. I can't imagine.
With that rotation they had, it'd be kind of hard not to.
But hey, I loved the Missouri basketball team.
Yeah.
You see how that worked out. 100%. So maybe you want me to pick against.
Yeah, if you're a superstitious person.
Yeah. I got a guy, because I think it's kind of like, I know it's in part because of who texts in from like, haha, you picked a game wrong. Like, that's kind of like a personality trait thing that is probably new over the last 6 months, I guess, for lack of a better term. But there's a guy who DMs me on Twitter, and he always is asking for like my long range plays. And he said, "Want to tell you, man? I got to keep telling you." And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Is that really working for you?" And I go, "If you don't mind me asking." He goes, "I tail your futures. The more confident I perceive you are reflects the amount I wager. I'm 5-0 on said futures, netting me $2,500.
Nice.
And I go, "Thank you. Out of curiosity, what were the things that you've tailed?" The Missouri over on win total in 2023.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
The Georgia win total under in 2023. The Mizzou under in 2024. I loved that more than I loved the Missouri over. The 2024 A's over, and the 2024 Reds under for win totals. So I'm like, yeah, I guess if I got a large sample size, maybe I can get you home.
Yeah.
But I'm a little concerned about this White Sox over based on the 4-13 start.
And the number they need to hit is 54 wins.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a little problematic.
Yeah.
So right now, hold on a second, Jackson.
I don't think they can get worse.
Apologize.
Like they're not going to do any deadline dumping.
So 4 times 9.5. They're on pace for 38 wins.
No, that's not going to. That's not going to sniff it. Maybe they'll get hot.
And win a baby?
I don't know. They're pretty bad.
Yeah.
I can't imagine their fan base is.
Lance Lynn did a podcast, the same podcast where he announced he was retiring with his
Right.
wife. And no, it was a different podcast, same
I
week.
think it was foul territory.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Where he said, just some organizations, he goes, "Man, I was with the White Sox. Wow. I had to go down there for some rehab starts, the minor leagues. Man, are they behind? I mean, they really need to get
I think
it
you're
going."
saying they were behind like of all the major
Yes.
sports. Like they're like way behind.
Yeah. So that thing isn't going to turn around anytime soon. All right, let me see what's going on here in this YouTube chat. As always, you can email me, McKernan, inside.stl.com. Guys, we'll all remember where we were with the Battlehawks win the UFL championship. How about that, Jackson?
Retweet.
Let's see. Hey, boys, been gone from the show for a while due to workload. Question, was Jackson at opening day? There was a guy right in front of me that was strikingly similar to our boy. That's from Tashara Jones Snowplow.
I was not in the ballpark opening day, obviously, for the show. We were at BPV and then in that general area. But no, I had to get my windshield replaced right about when projected game start.
Oh, that's right.
It was
I do
later.
remember that.
Yeah, but I did get my windshield replaced. And I've also noticed now, since I've gotten it replaced, I'll go in parking lots, I'll see a bunch of people with cracked windshields, and now I think I'm a pigeon for getting it fixed. Because it wasn't even that bad of a crack.
Oh, I'd get it fixed all day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I did, but...
You feel like a pigeon.
Yeah, someone told me, they're like, "Oh, I've had a crack in my windshield for the last 4 years." I was like, well, damn it.
DMLI, Swansea campus, writes, "Can Bryson's rise?" That might be one of those where it's real. You know what I mean?
Like an actual, like a work account?
Kind of like when on Balloon Party, there were like
Yeah, there was
a couple pastors.
Well, there was West Sutter USA Mortgage.
There was like a church,
there
and
was.
then it was sending in
Tough.
hate messages.
Yeah, well.
and I didn't, there's a weird deal when you're using Google Messenger
Right.
that for some reason some names
Yeah, if you're
show
using,
up,
like your work account.
and
yeah.
then some are businesses. Like I think the Grape Ape Auto Detailing is a real company.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, DMLI Swansea campus. Can Bryson's rise in popularity associated with YouTube be replicated by any pro golfer, or does it take a certain charismatic personality to pull that off? I would actually tell you, I don't think Bryson's charismatic. I don't know if that's a takey take.
No, he's not.
I feel like it's performative.
Yes.
Oh, so we're in lockstep on this.
I can't stand it, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Well, let it out,
And I think
baby.
people
You're
are
a
going to
prince.
assume it's because of the Trump thing and him interviewing Trump, and it's not the whole thing. It's part of it. But
So if I interviewed Donald Trump, you'd be mad at me?
that wasn't an interview is different than like the golf
I've played
course
Trump
thing.
National a few times.
But that's all different.
No.
Like I don't like people who drive a Tesla. I'm not like you're the problem. Like that's not the case.
You're the problem.
No.
You roll up next to him and say you're the
I
problem.
have noticed a lot of people with like I bought my car before Elon went nuts.
Those are bumper stickers on Teslas?
Yeah, I've seen
Really?
that. No Elon on Teslas.
I really
I've seen.
do live under a rock.
Yeah, not on Cybertrucks, but on just like the Model S.
Okay.
But no, I think it's so performative. Like the YouTube thing, like do what you want. If people enjoy the content, absolutely. But I thought the stuff after the U.S. Open was so performative. Like so performative for a guy who had this bad reputation of kind of being, I don't even know what the right word is, but like unapproachable and like just odd.
I have to tell you, I do find this question. It's like I'd have to do like a separate. I just don't know how appealing this kind of a deep dive is to the general audience of this podcast. But the Bryson DeChambeau conversation, and I don't even look at it through the lens of golf at all. Mm-hmm. But I recognize, I don't know what percentage of the audience would be interested in like it, because I view it through like the lens of social media and what I find to be the performative bullshit of social media that I believe has played a role. And this is where I take it seriously, not like somebody like doing duck lips in Frontenac, but how the performative element actually plays a role in policy and elected officials, and therefore can play a role in fucking up day-to-day existence, which I know sounds like, wow, that's an aggressive leap for a guy that was just talking about a golf tournament. But that conversation interests me. A guy wanting to build up a YouTube brand, whatever.
Right.
But Bryson DeChambeau, I think it was 21 when Mickelson won the PGA, and there's a reason I'm citing this, is because that's when he walked behind Brooks Koepka with the metal spikes, and Koepka had the exasperated look on his face like this jag-off.
I think the exact quote was, "I lost my train of thought hearing that bullshit."
I gotta tell you, there are people / characters, Rick from White Lotus, and Brooks Koepka, who are there moments when I'm like, boy, those are.
I think that's
kind of me.
Yeah, they've been
kind of me, you know. And then everybody for like a year, like hazed the guy's balls off, and I was like, I would say it. I think I said it on TMA and probably this podcast. I go, I think he's. I don't know what the right term for it is, and I'm doing this from a position of trying to be sincerely polite. Right. I guess the polite term would be socially awkward.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where I'm trying to go. You know, I think part of his brilliance is how eccentric he is, and that is why he has, the mad scientist that studied this thing. And
I think eccentric is the right word over charismatic.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't view it as charismatic, but he has engaged people with the eccentricity and here I'm going to let you behind the scenes, but I think the behind the scenes is kind of calculated. It's like watching The Real Housewives, not The Real Housewives of TMA, which is all real. But so I felt badly for him when everybody would yell Brooksy at him. Yeah. And now I'm confused why he's become a darling when to me it's so obvious it's performative. And then that saddens me that people can't tell it's performative. But then at the same time, some of the most popular people in our world right now are clearly performers, and that fucks me up. Mm-hmm. It's like it fucks up my worldview. It's the equivalent of... if you were, there was an article yesterday. They might have found life on another planet, and it was like we didn't know about it. It was like posted on the New York Times at 6:40. I'm like, well, shit. And I'm talking about the Blues in Utah. I feel like I missed the lead.
I know. I kind of like during COVID, there was something like that where or maybe right after J6, and it was like kind of slipped in. It was like aliens. Pretty probable that those are out there.
Well, yeah, but this is actually granted, not like beings as one would think, but like algae,
right?
And a planet that's however for 28 light years away, whatever. I'm like, did this just is this how under a rock I am that this has been out there? It was a story posted at 6:40 in the morning, and I'm reading it at like 6:30 at night. Well, how the fuck did I miss this? Yeah. I don't know if there's a bigger story than that. Right. And I read it, and again, they want to make it clear. It's not like they're like the only way we're going to have like aliens per se is if one like appears in front of our telescope and waves at us, or is here on the Earth. Anyway, I don't know why the fuck I was talking. Oh, performative, I'm like how if there were ghosts blows up my worldview. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's not to say that I don't know, but I'm like, if they're ghosts, then okay. I gotta my worldview is Sopranos.
Yeah, it just goes to plan.
Yeah. then I'm at peace with it. Sure, I said to my wife, I can't even recall, because all 4 of our parents are truly religious, and not in a religious like, hey, look at me, I'm religious, but like truly people of faith, different faiths, but nonetheless people of faith. I get the sense that you have some of that in common with
Good touch, yeah.
Yeah, that it's a real thing, and it's not like a hey, look at me type of thing. But I remember saying, I don't even know why we were talking about it, because it's not something we talk about much. I go, God, that'd be a great way to go through life. I'm jealous of it. I don't shit on it. It's just, I don't know how I could ever get there, but man, that's got to be wonderful. Now, if all of a sudden I find out they're ghosts, I go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That which I'm going through life as, okay, it's kind of like I've been put under a few different times for surgeries. Like, I kind of just figure that's the deal,
I always think of it as like, it's like what it was like before you were born.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, nothing.
Yeah. So the fact that performative, like obvious performers who are saying shit that they don't really mean are now celebrated, or doing things that they don't really mean are celebrated, I got to be honest with you, it kind of fucks up my worldview. But me personally, and maybe in 20 years I'll be like, oh, I should have danced. I'm like, okay. I guess the time of like being honest, here's what I think, that was good for me, because that's kind of the way that I operated, and it worked, and that was what was in vogue for. And now it's time to do a show and lie to people. All right, I guess my time's in the past. I'm fine with that. I have zero interest in like coming on here and going and starting to bullshit people, or all of a sudden I'm out like doing videos and acting like I'm got a butt plug in and I'm all charged up. This is who I am. You like it, you don't, you listen, you don't, you don't. I don't really fucking care. I don't know what to say. This is who I am. So the Bryson thing is, he's performative, but performative is celebrated now. Whereas, I don't know when, but for most of my life, it was like, what a fucking fraud.
Right.
And that mattered.
Yeah.
And now, and I don't know how we got here. I just know that we're here. I'm not interested in changing at all, even though I'm kind of like, ooh, this is obviously the game.
Right.
I just don't want to do it. And I don't know. It's like a golf score where you're cheating, and the guy in charge goes, if you can put your head on your pillow tonight, you can go through. But we had 3 people saw you drop a ball, or 3 people know you double bogeyed that and you didn't, whatever. I'm not going to put the wrong score down.
Yeah.
And this isn't a place of integrity. Jackson, I want to emphasize this to you. I am a godless pervert.
Yeah.
But when I'm talking with people, I don't want to give opinions that are rooted in falsehoods or things that I don't truly believe. Like, if you want to like try to pick up a read on me, here it is. I'll tell you. Here's my Teddy KGB Oreo. I'm not going to talk about it. Right. If there's a person, I don't really have a whole lot. As Mike Claiborne would say, I don't have a whole lot of use for him. If that's where I am, I'm not going to really say much.
Right.
That's the tell.
It's almost like it's like a fraudulent house of cards in a way, where like the people who would call out
You
fraud.
flipping me off right now, bro?
No, that's a classic eye scratch. And I use my middle finger, and I can understand how that comes across, but I apologize. There's like, it's a fraudulent house of cards where like the people who might have called out other people being fraudulent are fraudulent, and it's like you pull out one of the cards and it all comes falling down. So like when institutions become fraudulent, that's when I think it gets a little sideways in that way. However, I just think it's in vogue, and people either don't care that the people are being fraudulent or truly believe that they are being truthful, which I don't know which is scarier, but
the latter all day.
Right. It's almost like
the latter all day.
Would you rather be alone or know that something else is out there?
The latter all day. Let's see. DMLI Swansea campus said, I suppose many. Hold on, I want to make sure. What does performative mean in this context? And I want to make. This isn't like I'm mad about your question. No, the question, as it's talked about, evolution, I guess, of Bryson DeChambeau's relationship with crowds. truly enamors me, but because it's not about golf. It's got nothing to. I felt terribly for that guy, who I didn't really have any care about one way or the other, and I still don't, outside of appreciating that he's a damn good golfer. When he was getting shit on, and then it was like cool to shit on him, and I go, man, like, why is like being shitty to people celebrated? You know, from the safety of the anonymity of the crowd at PGA Tour events, but okay, whatever. And now it's like Bryson's the greatest, and I'm just like, what happened? And so therefore, he is acknowledged, and I think this is what it's about, because DMLI, I gotta just call you DMLI. What does performative mean? That he has a real need to be liked. And so what he went through, starting at Kiowa in 2021, 4 years ago, PGA Championship with the Brooks Koepka thing, to, you know, however long that Brooksy thing yelled out and people were yelling at him and all that shit, that it really bothered him, played a role in him. There's a video of him just walking along, he gets caught up in a rope, you know, to separate the crowd from the course. And, you know, people are just laughing at him. He's like battling to try to get under the, which could happen to anybody. But, you know, he's really coming from a place of, you remember Mike Martz after Vinatieri kicked the field goal? He's like fighting the rope. That's what it looks like to try to get to shake Belichick's hand. And I'm like, what did he do outside of kind of giving the people what they want?
Right.
That's what, if that's not who you are, but you're like, okay, I will do it so you like me. That's what I mean by performative.
Yeah.
And I want to make this clear. I'm not chastising him. I think what he went through is something that 99.9% of the population never experiences. Just having strangers hate you for what? Right. For a clip of Brooks Koepka, who would probably be the first one to say, not a delightful person,
right.
You know, like the angriest winner of major champions in the moment of winning major champions.
Wouldn't call himself a role model by any means.
Yeah, like I'd rather not play golf, but it happens to be what I'm good at. Whatever. God bless Koepka. That he's gone from being shit on, which wasn't cool, anonymously, to now like, oh, Bryson's the great. And I'm just going, what? He's the same guy outside of, he's just like, here's what it is. He's thirsty.
Yeah.
I don't love thirsty. Right. So when I don't think I even associate with any thirsties. Like when I'm on, somebody like posts like something on social media that's like me. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I thought, so like that my TikTok algorithm, there are certain people, and you might be able to guess who they are. Even when I see it, I go, okay, I gotta like get that as quick as I can. And they have huge followings, but I'm like, I know it's a performance. That doesn't mean that I'm against it. I think it's immoral. I personally am just interested in honest, or what people really think, discussion, even if it is something that I vehemently disagree with. But if it's performative, and by performative I mean somebody's saying something or doing something that they actually don't really think is true or don't really believe, but think it will get them approval on social media, then it's like kind of at the outset of the conversation. Am I the only one who ever picks against the home team? I mean, I know it's not going to be popular, right, but what are people tuning in for if they think I'm lying to them?
Yeah. I think you could even tie, and watch me do it, tie this back into adult film, where you've talked about...
I don't know where you're going with this, but I just want to applaud you in advance.
Yeah, thank you. Where you've talked about how you don't want it to feel like it's a performance, you want to feel like it's real.
Yes.
There it is.
If the stripper wants to rope me in, now, number one, it's going to be tough because I haven't traveled to a venue, and I think it's 2012, but we'll check on that.
Same night as the Cosma hit?
Well, no, I was alone in my living room on that one, texting with Matt Maskersh and Mark Mulder. Hey, I don't know. I bought it in. and the next thing I know, like, I wake up, it's Las Vegas, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I see a bunch of ATM receipts on my nightstand. Yeah, oh, boy. Yeah. And those fees just alone.
I was about to say, the fees on those, it always stings.
On that one, I bought in.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I've had even adult stars in Las Vegas who I'm like familiar with, and they're like trying to do this at Spearmint Rhino back. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been there in so damn long. I don't know what it's like now, but that kind of became the thing for a while. Maybe it still is. Fuck if I know. And I'd be like, I appreciate it. You know, we're like having like I'm having like this kind of like Ben Shapiro-esque conversation with the adult star who was stripping that night at Spearmint Rhino. Like, I get it. You're here to make money. I respect it. There's no way in the world you're attracted to me. So we don't even need to do this. It's lovely to talk. If you want to talk, I'll talk. But there's no circumstance in which we're going to go back there and I'm going to pay you $150 to dry fuck me. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But I respect the business model and the hustle. It's just not. It's not my thing.
Right.
But if you want to keep talking, I'll talk. I'm just not going to give you any money.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I felt like that was the right way to handle it.
Right. Like, do you think
fucking strange as hell, I'm sure. And I also knew to never make eye contact with the strippers, because then all of a sudden you can start to con yourself into thinking, oh, wow, she likes me.
Right. And they never do. Yeah. And like with just circling back to Bryson, like, I'm told, like, I like that he does the YouTube stuff. Like, I think more pro golfers should do.
I'm entertained by it. I just it strikes me as a performance.
100%.
So, like, the Bob Does Sports guy, who I was aware of, but I just find the guy
Bobby Fairways,
like, but he is obviously
it's
playing a character.
Yes.
Like I recognize Club Pro guy who made a glorious return.
Yeah. John Hamm on narration
is playing a character,
right?
And I'm on board.
Yeah.
And then that Bobby Fairways thing,
he's hilarious.
I'm like, this guy's fucking brilliant. I mean, he's fucking brilliant. So, like, when I see that and it's like a guy who was just a guy a couple years ago, I'm like, good for you.
Yeah, college pitcher Fairleigh Dickinson.
I mean, he's just so good in the voice.
The nasally voices.
Oh, my God. It's great.
Yeah.
But when it's like these, you start flexing and it's like, oh yeah, I bet this is good. I'm going to keep flexing and really like get into the celebration. Like Rory McIlroy's celebration was not performative to me. Now, maybe it was.
I don't think so at all.
But I believe that it was real. Going back to the adult film thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rory was doing that on the 18th
Rory was
green.
doing that on the 18th green. Thank you.
Yes.
That's exactly what it was. I want to make sure the DMLI Swansea campus. He says, I suppose many YouTube channel personalities are performative. I like his channel because he comes off as personable, which is different than the typical pro golfer I grew up watching. I suppose that might make me a square. I'm not saying that. But some people like some things. Thank you for the response, guys. God bless. All right, so he gets that I'm not going after him. I'm not. I'm just saying, I think specific to Bryson, it's performative. I don't think that's really who he is. But it's kind of like when people would go, man, this Hollywood actor or actress or this NBA athlete or MLB player, they sure are a little,
Yeah.
whatever the right term would be, weird.
Yeah, not down to earth.
And that probably is spot on.
Right.
However, their life experience and what it is like for them to be in public versus what it is like for almost everybody around them who knows nothing but being a private citizen and not having to go, oh, they might recognize me. Oh, I can't do this because this person, I can tell just by the body language, recognizes me.
TMZ is outside the restaurant.
Then, of course, it fucking makes going out in public can be a living hell.
See Bieber.
And then usually the counter is, well, they're fucking rich. Yeah, if you said to some of these motherfuckers with 9 figures, cut me $50 million check right now, and nobody will recognize. They would cut it as quick as you can, just because they want their privacy back.
Look at Justin Bieber, like right now. Like it's everyone's.
I have no idea what's going on with Justin Bieber right now. Like zero.
He's been going like TMZ still all up his ass. I don't even think he's released music.
I was about to say I didn't even. Well, yeah, that's why I was like,
he's been dealing with health stuff with him and his wife, and all day they follow him around. And he's been known to be a touch persnickety with the TMZ, the paparazzi, and it's just like they keep hounding them. They keep hounding
because they just want the reaction.
And now he's reacting, and that's the thing. And now everyone's like, well, Justin Bieber's crashing out. It's like, well, he's kind of lived this since he was 12 years old.
Yeah, it's just
and it's tough. And yeah, he makes a lot of money, and some people might think the fame is a plus, but like you just said, if he had an option to cut $50 million so no one would ever bother him again, he would do it before you finish your sentence.
But that was a great, and DMLI Swansea campus on Bryson. I'm not saying it makes you square at all. If anything, I guess I would be the square. I'm not. I'm just not the one, and I'm not mad at it. My overarching. I think I was saying this about Clay Travis. I think is who I was thinking of. Like he was on the podcast, like one of the first interviews on the podcast. I don't believe that he thinks the things that he says deep down.
Right.
But in the interview in which I actually asked him about it, it cites an article, and this was 2017, and he couldn't have been better to deal with. So from an individual standpoint, he came up to me later. This was at an event at Kirkwood Brewhouse, and I interviewed him before that. And I guess the interview kind of, I don't know what the right term would be. It wasn't. This was like 3 or 4 hours after we did the interview, and it was a good exchange. And I was citing this article, and I can't remember what the publication was. I, did the interview 5 or 8 years ago at this point, and it was basically saying, it was something along the lines of, "Boy, I can't believe Donald Trump got elected. Holy shit! But this is going to be great for business for us, And hey, to each their own." But I just don't think that, I don't think he just knows what plays.
Yeah.
And he's by no means the first to do it. It's just, I suppose you could see what it was before that and what it is now, and that there is a game there. That would be an example of what I mean by performative. And for every one of, I think a ball is a ball and a strike is a strike. I feel like, I don't know, there are 100 of the performatives, but that would be one who used to be on our show back in 2012 before you were even listening to the damn thing, when Missouri went into the SEC, and he was on every week, and we were just talking college football. But he knows it works, and you can make a shitload of money. I mean, that guy, God only knows how much money he's made, versus when he was just the guy making fun of Tennessee fans and getting Greg Schiano's hiring overturned, So, hey, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if in 20 years I'll be like, God, that was so easy. I could have just done this thing and had, an intern follow me around with a camera and, when the Cardinals lose a game, start screaming and doing this thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just can't do that. Right. I guess I don't think I can do that. But I don't know. Like if somebody goes, okay, there's $10 million in it before you even do it, I don't look at it like I go, okay, well then I got some kids. Yeah. I don't know.
And it's like once you start, it's not like you can just like stop and be like, hey, everything I've told you, everything I've done the last 3 years has been bullshit and performance. Because then the rest of your days is bullshit. You're so once you do it like that. That's your new personality. I don't think you ever want to have that kind of finality about the way you approach things, And I think that plays a big part. Like I'm sure Clay Travis probably went through something similar. He's like, I'm going to do this.
I don't know. So later in the night, I didn't never finish the story. He comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man," and I go, "What's up?" And he goes, you asked some really good questions. He goes, "That was a really good interview." Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And that didn't surprise me because the interview wasn't contentious in the slightest. It was a smooth and good conversation. Hell, we're sitting there having drinks. But it was, my point being, like, he's been interviewed, God only knows, at that time, thousands of times, I would imagine. And it stood out to him. And I think it's because it kind of like, it was asking him to reflect on what he is, the road, I suppose, he has chosen. But by the way, fuck, I might be wrong. Hell, I don't know. So it's not like I know. Let's see. You boys watch Bill Maher talk about his White House visit. Everyone is playing a character they have to play these days. That's from Carlos Spicy Wiener. I did. I don't know what the second part, though, is. Everyone is playing character they have to play these days. I don't know what that means, Carlos Spicy Wiener, and I know Carlos Spicy Wiener, and I think the world of Carlos Spicy Wiener. I know he's a sharp guy, so I'm sincerely asking for a follow-up explanation. My guess is you have not watched that.
I know kind of
that he went,
but I didn't watch it, so I can't comment.
Right? Okay, fair enough. Strippers are like Medusa. That's some happy birthday, Maverick.
Yeah, don't look. Then you turn stone face.
That's good counsel. Happy birthday, Maverick. The difficult part would be making it good. I'm not one who can fake enthusiasm, and you have to be able to do that and do it good to be successful. That is from MD 2020.
I think there's something to that.
Yeah, I think that there is something to that. Let's see. I only have read one question. Let me see what else I got here. Let's guess it's Timmy recaps.
Always brings the heat.
He does bring the heat. I kind of want to save it though because it's so good, and when he does it, it's like how long have we gone? We already gone an hour.
We have gone an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow, but these things fly.
Yeah.
They really do. All right, so let me go back to, let's see, Carlos Spicy Winner. He said Trump was acting totally normal and not the off-the-walls firing from the hip person he displays to the public. I saw that part, but when you said, Carlos Spicy Winner, everyone is playing a character they have to play these days, are you saying that Trump's playing a character and Maher's playing a character? What are you saying regarding the playing a character part? Because I did see it. Within a week of the election in 2024, Joe Scarborough, and I don't know if he's married to the former Mika Brzezinski, whose father was higher up, I think, in the Nixon administration, if memory serves. Trump playing a character, that's what Carlos Spicy Winner is saying. Okay, that's interesting. They went and visited, and they do the show. I believe they do the show from right by the Cardinal Spring Training Complex, even though I guess they try to make it look like they're in New York.
I like that.
Which is something I'll be trying to do to make it look like
we'll be hitting them up with
ASAP. Yeah, sure, we're working with the same budget.
Yeah.
And so they got a 15-minute drive to Mar-a-Lago, and so they went and visited President Trump, and in the moment, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a great thing. Holy fuck. I think it destroyed their show. Not because of anything that happened, but because their audience, and that show airs on MSNBC, their audience, a good portion of their audience, felt like they...
Yeah, lick the boots.
Like the what?
Lick the boots.
Yeah. It was just appalled that they would do that. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm in a monster minority on this. I thought it was, I'm like, oh, that's a great thing because they have been really critical of him. He had been really critical of them. It was really, it certainly got, as you would expect, personal. I always, unless you're dealing with criminal or death threats, yeah, I'll sit down with anybody. This is certainly taking something on a local level and applying it, and I realize it's a 1/1,000,000%. But we had the awkward thing with Dan Marshall when he did the 590 the man thing, 1380 the woman thing, and he was whatever the situation was. And less than a year after that, now he didn't do it, but a representative, I guess, for lack of a better term, reached out to me to have dinner with Dan and his wife to kind of, I don't know, I guess, they wanted me to buy the station. That's what it was about. And I know that was the end goal. But I didn't go, well, fuck him. I'm not going to sit down and have dinner. I'll sit down and have dinner. We had a totally polite conversation and friendly as can be, whatever. I don't know. Now, I realize we're talking about AM sports talk radio in St. Louis versus world leader, so I'm not trying to equate the two. I guess I'm just saying, both with Bill Maher going to the White House and Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski going to Mar-a-Lago, I don't have a problem with that at all. But I think both have overall been reviewed in a major negative way.
Right.
So I'm curious, where are you on those?
So I haven't seen either of them talk about these situations, so I can't comment.
So I'm talking in general.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
I think it's different because of the position he holds. I have no doubts that he is extremely charismatic. I have no doubts that, from a personal level, he could be perceived as a normal, lot different than he is on television, but he is not a normal guy. He's the president of the United States, and at a very critical time and doing some very critical things. Therefore, Yeah, I don't doubt Bill Maher had a positive experience.
So if you were invited to the White House to have dinner with Donald Trump, would you go?
Probably no.
Wow. And what's your reasoning?
I don't want to get too deep into this, but I just...
Okay. Hey,
No,
I'm not trying to put you in an awkward spot.
No, not at all. I mean, if there is a space to do this, it's right here. But it's
you don't think this is a good thing for the 8 o'clock hour on TMA tomorrow?
I'd love to see the text line. But no, because I don't like... I'm trying to word this correctly.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you in an awkward spot.
No, you didn't
I didn't think it was...
No, I just like... Because of the position he holds and the power he holds, not only as every president does, but because of his constituents or a certain portion of his constituents and how into it they are, like, I think that, like, I don't doubt that he's like a charismatic, nice dude to people in off the public sector of it, but, like, he's a different person. Like, he is the president, therefore, like, I'm not judging it, like, I don't really give a shit if he's nice to Bill Maher, who's been very critical of him before. Like, I give a shit what he does. And what he does, I despise. Therefore, like, I don't want to... And that might be fucked up of me, and I might be in the wrong in that sense, but that's where I'm at.
Okay. Well, I know you're not alone on it. See, if I had the opportunity, but this would be with... I'd have dinner with Kim Jong-un. I'd have dinner with anybody because I would want to, especially if I disagree with them, I would want to try to understand, and then perhaps I'm wrong. I can learn, and I'm not. This isn't like let me talk down to you because you're not open to learning. That's my mindset on it, and so going back to Maher going to have dinner there, and Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski going and meeting with him at Mar-a-Lago, I think that's a positive when people don't,
Yeah, I think breaking bread and trying to understand others is a positive thing. But, like, you can tell me till you're blue in the face that, like, you have a positive experience, and behind the cameras he's not that. But when he is on camera, and that's all people see who don't get the invite to Mar-a-Lago and don't get the invite to the White House, then it's like the performative thing. Like, okay, so you're telling me he's a completely different person away from the camera, then why is he acting like an asshole on camera?
Right. Well, I mean, there's that. That's what that's summarizing kind of what Bill Maher said. That's not what Joe Scarborough said.
Sure.
I would want to try to understand, is it, I mean, I'm from a policy standpoint, I'm very confident that some of the things that appeal to social conservatives are, I don't know if I call it performative. That's just, unfortunately, politics. But if this is a calculated character he's playing, I would love to both see it and then hear the reasoning and understand the whole situation better. The Bill Maher thing specifically, I was surprised, thrown off, I guess, by. I don't know. I guess what Carlos Spicer was saying is Trump is playing a character. Like I said, for me, but again, I could be wrong. I could be in the wrong. I mean, I don't know. Guess who's the judge and jury to say who's in the right and wrong? Although I'm confident emails will come on both sides of that. But that's just I like to have conversations with people I disagree with, or I like to read or listen to thought processes that I think at the very least I'm going to disagree with, because either I learn and find out that I was wrong, or by hearing their reasoning, then I become even more confident in my position was right before. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and I respect that.
But I recognize this is a different time, I suppose. But I mean, a decade ago, there were plenty of people who hated Barack Obama, for example. So I don't know. And 2 decades ago, plenty of people who hated George W. Bush. Let's see what we got here. Jackson, what's your take on Wesley? Oh, this is a golf thing. Yeah, but Maher's rhetoric has gone more centric, especially in his last season. That may be by design, but he's really never been shy about sharing his true thoughts. That's from A.J. Brown. last season of Real Talk, probably meaning real time. See, so one of the things that's been said about it as far as criticism of it, I think it was a column in the Washington Post, and one of his guests on the panel, who kind of went after him for doing it, and then Maher went back after the panelist, who's a writer for the Washington Post, can't recall his name, said that I think for those of us who are fans of yours, we believe you went there with pure motives. The issue is we don't believe he had you there with pure motives. Mm-hmm. And Maher didn't like that, and Maher being how he is, shit on him. So I get that. I felt like he was kind of hypersensitive to that criticism. But whatever. I don't know. I don't have a problem with two people who don't agree sitting down. If anything, I think that's kind of the best thing possible. When I've talked with elected officials and they talk about how things were different in the past, they talk about, we used to all live in D.C., not go back to our home states. And so therefore we couldn't help but develop friendships, even if one was a Republican and one was a Democrat, and our families became friends, and then therefore it humanized the people, as opposed to these are just faces we'd see pop up on cable news or avatars we would see on social media, and it was easier to get things done because we knew each other. And that's how I find, I don't know, that's what I think is the best way. But, maybe I'm off,
I think it's obviously like a case by case. Like in a vacuum, totally agree. Two people who disagree, when you get down in a room with each other, you can both understand much better where you two are coming from and explain things. I just think like you said, like back in the day, like politicians lived in D.C., developed friendships. I think that came across to the public, where it's like, obviously these two people probably fundamentally disagree on something, but they're willing to work together. But like it would honestly upset me more to know like that two people who oppose each other on other sides actually did have somewhat of a friendship and were cordial to each other, but then on television, in public, are like screaming at each other and calling each other names and shit. Like that would seem even more performative. And I like that when I go see a play, but I don't like that in the people who make the decisions that shape our lives.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious what you think if you watched Maher talk about it.
Yeah, again, I can't comment on it.
And I know you haven't. You've been straightforward about that. The thing that always, what people are critical of and going, he just needs this to keep his show going on HBO. I think he turns 70 here in the next handful of months. He's got God only knows how much money. I mean, we're talking 9 figures net worth. He's not like, boy, I hope I can have some income.
Right.
It's just, this is a kind of, at this point, he's well past this point, actually. It's a passion project. He doesn't need to appeal to try to continue to make whatever the hell it is that HBO is paying him. It's not going to change his ability to live in a neighborhood, so to speak. So that, if you're looking for motives, I think the motives are okay. You get a chance to sit down and just kind of hear it. It certainly was surprising to hear the guy that you see on television is not the guy when you're that part threw me off. For me, it made me feel better. But I certainly can see your side of it going, well, then why the hell is he, right? If this is a character, then why the hell is he doing it that way? But yeah, I think that I don't know if I would, and maybe I'm forgetting something where I was unhappy that somebody sat down with somebody. I don't know.
I can't think of anything like that for me. Personally.
Yeah, I'm kind of good with it. You're welcome to email in McKernan at InsideSTL.com. All right, let me do one more here. Tim, I write to thank you and damn you for introducing me to Chris Vernon and the Chris Vernon Masters updates on TMA last week. I'm thanking you because it's the most genius thing I've seen recently and perfectly pokes fun at the self-seriousness of Augusta while at the same time strangely honoring it. I'm damning you because I cannot stop watching it. I viewed them an insane amount of times. Guys on a couple of my group texts are saying the same thing. I'm lying in bed, unable to sleep because I have Tony Finau, where he be now, on a loop in my head. Lame QFTA, but I know one of Chris Vernon's day jobs is Grizzlies broadcasts. Any chance of getting him on the show and having him and Jackson nerd out on the association to antagonize the texters? It would be great fun. Finally, I know you're a fan of the SVP pod, so I'm assuming you heard or will hear the episode on the Masters with No Laying Up and Vernon. Hope all is well. I'm enjoying the show. That's from Jeremy. Yes, I did listen to that episode. It was so weird. I really like the No Laying Up pod. Did you listen to the SVP episode? Mm-hmm. Okay. I really like the No Laying Up podcast. And Vernon is somebody who I have held in, high esteem. I've talked about it on this show and probably TMA about how I tried to get the owner of KFNS in 2016 he wanted to find a show for Afternoon Drive. And I said, well, I'm telling you, the guy with St. Louis ties, who is most talented person for my money that I've come across in the industry with St. Louis ties, who's not in the market, is Chris Vernon. I go, he knows his shit. He's hilarious. He will say what he thinks, doesn't give a fuck what people think. Talented, creative. I mean, he checks every box. And the owner of KFNS reached out to him, was going to pay him. I mean, it certainly wasn't for lack of dollars, paying him big time. But Vernon, and he talked about this when he was on with Van Pelt this week, his parents, he's in Memphis, his parents live I don't know, he said 500 yards from where he is. It's just a great setup, and he's got it going in Memphis and doesn't want to fuck with it, even though I think he's a Parkway Central guy. About my age, I believe, and loves the NBA.
Yep.
So he's got an NBA team.
Grind City Media
That's right.
Like partners with the Grizzlies.
Yeah, owned by or started by or bankrolled by the owner of the Grizzlies.
Yeah, so they have a great partnership with the only major sports team in Memphis. He does podcasts with The Ringer.
Yes.
So he's involved nationally, so people know him nationally. He's incredible. He's super
So
fun.
you're a fan too?
Oh, yeah. Verno's awesome.
Beyond the Masters updates.
Yeah, there's some things, like with his NBA coverage from a national perspective, that I don't love. Like I've heard opinions or things he's tweeted or said that I'm like, I just fundamentally disagree with that. But the way he goes about it, I really like. I'm obviously the Ringer podcast is for sports wise and pop culture is where I tend to go to because it usually blends those two things really well. And
I don't
he
know
does
why I don't
really
listen
well.
to more Ringer. I got to do that.
Simmons pods are just really long. That's what it's like. And there's a lot of
but it's a lot of NBA.
NBA
I wouldn't listen to. I know a lot of them during the NFL season or NFL. I'm just that's not where my passion is.
Right.
I listen to college football podcasts like crazy, and for certain golf tournaments, golf podcasts.
Yeah. I like when they were with any podcast. Here's my thing. I love kind of exactly what we do. Not be saying we do it best and everyone else should follow. Is hangout podcasts.
Right. I couldn't agree more. People
hanging out, and yes, there is a prompt or something they are talking about, but when they stray away from it, there's not somebody.
I could do this for 30 more years.
100%.
I could do this for 30 more years, but other stuff, I don't think I can.
There's not someone behind the glass saying oh, get back on topic, get back.
Right.
Just let it flow.
Right. Yeah. I love having just a conversation, also whether it be with you, certainly, obviously, or with audience members. And they just kind of understand this. They're just going to bullshit. Yeah, hang out. That's what Amy Poehler just had a new podcast come out called Good Hang.
Spotify, yeah.
Yeah, God, Martin Short to start. Awesome. Holy shit, is it good?
You should watch that John Mulaney Netflix
I'm
live
not
show.
A Mulaney fan.
Really? Damn.
And it weirds me out. I don't know what the deal with it is because he's got the things that you would think. Because I feel so often likability is actually there are things I recognize in that person that I know are in myself. Mm-hmm. I could be off on this. This is a master's thesis I'm in the process of working on. And so Mulaney and I mean, I know he's had the substance abuse issues, but that we have some, as far as upbringing, That's what I'm talking about. God, he's obviously a brilliant comedic mind. I'm not saying. And for whatever reason, I don't know why. He doesn't really amuse me. I don't know what the fuck to say. Anyway, why are you bringing up Mulaney?
Well, like he's kind of launched, and I think this might, like, I hope that this is like kind of the future and what some of these streaming services can do. He has a show on Netflix that airs live once a week. So it's kind of like a late night show kind of style. He starts with a monologue, and then he has a guest on, but it's not like an interview. They just kind of hang out together and shoot the shit. It's usually about an hour. His sidekick is Richard Kind. You know him as Larry's cousin from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Totally.
So funny. And like they've had Bill Hader on, and it's like kind of an interview, but it's kind of like Bill Hader's like co-hosting the show with them for that show. And I find it and obviously I think Mulaney he's my favorite comic.
Is he really? How about that?
I know.
Maybe it's his delivery?
That's 100%. He's wearing a suit, even though he'll
Well, no, I'm saying I don't think I like his delivery.
Right. So that, to me, the delivery is a huge part of it. Like, he once started a joke about his wife. He was like, so my wife. He's like, my wife. Oh, I have this wife. And then continues the joke. Like, I just think his shit is so funny.
A.J. Brown says, it's weird. Mulaney's face doesn't match his comedy. I know it's weird, but I agree. He just doesn't do it for me. That's the first time I ever really talked about John Mulaney. I don't know. I just, for whatever reason. And maybe like Letterman. I love the Letterman interview show. Mm-hmm. What the fuck he's doing. God, I love that show. And I realize he's certainly not like working. Hey, good for him. He's, I don't know, mid-70s, I would assume. And
Galifianakis on Between Two Ferns once called him Crystal Meth Santa Claus.
Outstanding. So the show just kind of like pops up with a new episode. So
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, and I'm just like, Yeah. And it's not because I'm anti-Caitlin Clark in the slightest. She seems like a delight. Yeah. But I'm just like,
You're a Van Lith guy.
I think I would be more just because I'm like, Caitlin Clark, if anything, even though it's not her fault, I view her as like overexposed. Like
her story's been told.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you. Because I was like, Anna Marie and I were flipping through last night. That's where I got to, which I made a recommendation on TMA today. Your friends and neighbors. Watch this. Whoa. Yeah. Although I'd be curious, you have or haven't watched Adolescence?
I'm going. Oh, Adolescence still on the dossier.
Okay, I'll be curious for you as a non-parent if Adolescent hits as hard as it does for you as it does me. And then I have these people texting me. They're like, I mean, I can't be mad because you didn't. It's not like you didn't warn.
Right.
But holy shit, it's somehow more intense.
You made the noises.
Oh, I mean, but your friends and neighbors, for me. And my wife goes, boy, you don't really, I go, that is intense anxiety. And I go, it's like all of my, all of my shit on, and then it's like 9th, and now we're going to bed. It's 10:30, which is late for me. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck, what did I just do to myself? Yeah. And it's also, I think it's comedy. I think.
That's what it's being labeled as.
Is it?
I've seen the trailer, so I watched
certainly there's comedic moments.
Right.
But fuck.
Yeah. So I watched The Studio on Apple, obviously, and every
Still
time,
glorious? I've only seen one episode.
I really enjoy it just because I like that. That's another show that's like, it's all super inspired by Robert Altman, director from the 70s and 80s, where like it's much more authentic to how people talk, where it's people talk over each other and yell and scream, and it's not perfect dialogue, not like Sorkin kind of tight playwright style dialogue. It's more so like free form. And there's been obviously Uncut Gems was a huge inspiration, was inspired by Robert Altman movies. And Studio is very much in that same vein. The movie The Player certainly has a lot of that DNA to it. But every time I watch The Studio, the ad for Your Friends and Neighbors pops up, and I'm like, man, I'm going to start that. And I like John Hamm. He still hasn't found that perfect role since Don Draper, and I want him as a St. Louis guy. I really want him to find that perfect role.
This is, I mean, it's definitely, I'm looking forward to the next episode. It's just like, oh, now I know what I'm in for. Yeah. Like I wouldn't have gone, let's do episode 4 of Adolescence real quick.
Right. Yeah, it's not something you just like.
It's a pack of lunch. I was under the impression this was like obvious, and it's just, again, this is the thing with the quote relatability or things that people like. I don't know if Adolescence will. I don't know. I'll be really curious, which you'll appreciate it from
from a achievement standpoint.
Yes. Well, that's beautiful. I was going to say production, but achievement. Absolutely. There's so many elements of the things that you're into that you will be appreciative of. But as the actual story, I don't know. I don't think it would have hit me as hard before I had kids.
Right.
I don't know. And then your friends and neighbors, it's just like, you know, don't get me going on family law. That's
Right.
what I mean.
Right.
You know, so it hits on that, and just I still, for the life of me, I don't even know what the fuck to say about it outside of what do I talk? I think like I've said these ones before: social media, divorce law, and I think there's another one that I'm like within the next 10 years. My hope is it'll be past my time that we'll look back on like at the 2025 and go, God, can you believe that shit went on?
Yeah.
Like people could just like anonymously like destroy people and, you know, and they wouldn't suffer any ramifications or, you know, woman could fuck 30 people, but you know, still just chop it up half. I just, for the, you know, life of me, blows me away, and I feel like there's a third one. I suppose politics. Yeah. That would be one, but I've been saying that for a long time. The social media one, I live in awe. Yes, in divorce law, and just chop it up halfway, and like, can we have fault?
Yeah.
Can that factor in any capacity?
Yeah, bring back shame.
You want to bring back shame?
Yeah, ideally.
Game of Thrones.
Hannah Waddingham,
yes,
who was in rarefied air for me. We talked about before Marriage Story, the movie Marriage Story.
That's that. Honest to God, that's what I was thinking last night as I was watching this.
As adolescents, yeah.
Which was what Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver, am I right?
Laura Dern played the lawyer.
Yeah, and if you've been divorced, and again, I recognize when I say I've been divorced, it's a hell of a lot different than those, because I was only married for 4 years, no kids. It's kind of like you were divorced, but you weren't really divorced, because it's a different ballgame when you bring that in. And, you know, I was, 30 and didn't have shit, so it didn't really matter. I mean, it mattered. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying, like, relative to, like, what John Hamm is enjoying, you know. But when I saw that movie, and I'm like, I don't think I can get through this.
Right, so that's
and I remember pausing it, and my wife's like, you okay? And I'm like, I mean, I like, it's like, you know, it's for me when people say, you know, if they fought, like Doug talks about his dad in World War II.
Yeah.
Like he would wake up and, you know, be screaming in the middle of the night. I've interviewed people for Sound Story who talk about that, whether it be with their parents or Vietnam vets who talk about that kind of. And for me, you know, obviously it's a lesser thing, but I'm like, I recognized all the little bullshit tactics. It is PTSD.
Yeah. And
so I'm seeing this, and I'm just going, I can't.
Yeah, it activates it. Yeah, so that's the difference. Like, I watched that Marriage Story movie.
Yeah, so how did you view that?
Loved it. Like, I thought from loved it is the wrong way. It was not like I was like, well, popcorn, get the popcorn now. We're firing up Marriage Story. I haven't watched it since. But I was like, this is incredibly well done. Two incredible actors, Laura Dern and Ray Liotta plays
That's
Adam
right.
Driver's actor. May he rest in peace. Noah Baumbach, who I love as a director. He makes incredible movies, often dealing with family issues. He was a child of divorce. So like The Squid and the Whale, that's another one. That's a pack-a-lunch movie that he made. And so that's like his style. So I was like, walked away from like, well done. You know, brutal, but I like went to bed with no issues. Whereas I can totally understand someone who's been divorced being like, what? That fucking
So
upended.
So it isn't even about marriage. It's about if you've been divorced, because then because before I got divorced, I didn't recognize like the little, I don't even know, tricks, I guess, of some, not all, family attorneys. Mm-hmm. And all you got to do is activate one of the parties. Just if you can light the fire in one of the parties, and then once that happens, it's like having your country invaded.
Yeah. What
are you going to do? Just let them invade your country? Well, no, now you got to mount up. And it's just like, oh my fucking Lord.
Right.
We're going to do this shit now. Especially, you know.
So same thing with adolescence, you know? Like where it's like, I don't have kids.
Yeah, that's,
so
I think my handicapping of it, well, you've already seen Wedding Story, and the John Hamm thing is comedic, but dark. It's dark.
Dark comedy, yeah.
But it's not like the studio, you know.
Right.
I mean, it's certainly got drama elements. I don't think I think it'll hit even without you having kids. I think it just hits so hard for parents. So I've had people text me who don't have kids and going, oh my God, people have grown kids, but I'm like in the sweet spot with a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, both boys. And it's just, listen, and I know the more I talk about it, then people are like, oh, maybe we should watch it. Just be prepared, I guess, and also it's one camera. Yeah. It's literally one camera, so you also have to you this can't be a thing like you're scrolling your phone hoping Ella Reese is off the hike.
Yeah, there's no exterior shots.
You gotta be
shots. Yeah,
yeah. Now the camera rolls through, but it's one take.
It's unbelievable.
And then you got a guy who's 13 years old, is one of the leads, who wasn't an actor before, and I can appreciate that even while going into the story. Holy shit, it's brilliant. But yeah, I'd be curious again, with you not having kids, not being married, if these things hit like they do. And for those who saw it, it's called The Wedding Story. Is that what the thing was?
Marriage Story.
Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Wedding Story is like something they do on HGTV or something where a girl gets a dress and we all, just it's the greatest moment ever.
Yeah, Wedding Story I probably wouldn't sit down to watch. Marriage Story, yeah, that's a mega. And if someone out there is like, oh, I actually really enjoyed Marriage Story, I liked Adolescence, I couldn't recommend this movie anymore. Same director as Marriage Story. It's called The Meyerowitz Stories. It's with Dustin Hoffman, Adam Sandler, and Ben Stiller. And it is amazing. It came out like 2 years before Marriage Story. It's on Netflix still. It was a Netflix-made movie. It's incredible. It's a lot lighter than something like Marriage Story, but still pretty heavy. But it's hilarious. Adam Sandler in yet another dramatic role. Can't recommend it more.
There it is. All right, Papers. What do we go? 2 hours? Hour and 48 minutes.
Hour and 42.
You're always, and I always have to read all the emails. And then the next thing I know, I get distracted by YouTube. It's a YouTube chat. Yeah, tip of the cap.
Bright, shiny object.
All right, time for us to go. Thank you to our sponsors, James Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Thanks to McKernan, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. And thank you to Seth Goldcamp, Design Air Heating and Cooling. For Jackson Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast.